But then I kind of feel bad. If that's really what's going on, we're a big enough show now where if he's not going to tell them the strategy, because you don't tell folks what you're going to do, but then you don't want his constituents to get mad at him that he's betrayed us, I'm kind of in a quandary here. But Trump always told us what he was going to do, that he never lied to us. He hasn't lied to us. But he said, I will not tell the enemy what I'm going to do, and I will be, I don't want to say deceptive, but I will put all options on the table when we do something militarily, because you never tell folks what the options are, or then you've eliminated those options. What I think we're seeing is real presidential strategy here, and my gut is the exit is a very strong victory, pulling out with an economic deal, not giving the extremists a safe haven, and cutting off the globalist operation of playing footsie with the Al-Qaeda/ISIS folks. Dr. Pieczenik, that's a mouthful, but is that somewhat accurate, or is that wrong?
It's completely wrong. Not only has the president lied to the American public, but more importantly, the generals, Mattis, McMaster's, the people we helped to put in have lied to themselves and to the American public. These are generals who know better than to say that more troops putting into a constant war and insurgency will clean out the area, Afghanistan, when I've been in Afghanistan. They don't know the history. Trump again repeats that we were attacked in 9/11. This is always about 9/11. I told you from day one. When I came on this show, it wasn't about Breitbart or Bannon or any of the guys. It was about guys like me and others who said these generals are cowards. They're moral, intellectual cowards. I've known that about McMaster because we paid him. I knew that about Mattis. But I had warned my men in G2, you put these guys in and they act in a different way, I will turn against you, and I will have every American turn against you, because this is a disaster. There is no strategy. Putting in more men, McMaster is an idiot. He knows very well does nothing. The effect that you're going to put pressure on Pakistan is absurd. The Pakistani, and Pompeo is the smartest, knows that this was created by ISI, the Inter-Service Intelligence Agency, and the CIA then created the Inter-Service Intelligence.
Hamid Gul.
Now, let me just get further. There was no terrorist attack from Afghanistan or Iraq, and these generals know it. They're lying. They're moral cowards, and they're ineffectual. And I say that as a former Rear Admiral and a military officer who resigned my commission with honor, and I find them disgraceful. This is the most absurd thing you could have done. Trump is now on notice that we will work against him. The alternative right and the Tea Party started with guys like me, and Steve Quayle and others in Montana said, this is enough. This 9/11 was an inside attack by CIA. Furthermore, not one of those generals knows any idea how Karzai came in there. I was there the day Zalmay Khalilzad, the neocon who was born in Afghanistan, a CIA operative who worked for me in the West Bank and Gaza, a total moron who never did anything productive in his life, brought in Karzai into Afghanistan. Where do you
and then his heroin dealing brother. So let me ask you this.
No, let me
hold on. We're going to skip the break. You got plenty of time. Hold on. Because I want to be clear. I don't call up guests and set up what we're going to talk about. I respect Dr. Pieczenik. Hold on, I'm going to you. And I respect his views, and I'm not saying I disagree with him. I'm saying Trump believes the strategy is to go in and build up and pull out. That's what the troops and even mid-level people and high-level are being told. So that's what I said is, it looks like he thinks he's telling the truth to go in and get us out. But I agree, it's never worked. It's a quagmire. It puts more targets on the ground. I said last night on air, I don't know how India is going to really put real pressure on Pakistan. I thought that would cement them more into the Akani networks and all of it. But I'm trying to be positive and put out all sides. Because here's the thing, Dr. Pieczenik. Here's the thing, Dr. Pieczenik. I talked to you, you're a smart guy. And I talked to you a few days before the election. And remember our private conversation. So the thing is, I'm right sometimes when you're wrong. So all I'm saying is I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying this is bold statements by you, and I respect them. I want to hear them. We can have you on for a whole hour tomorrow if you want to take calls about it. Because, I mean, look, if Trump's really taking a sideways slide, his support of that bad health care bill, just wanting to get a win, was when he lost a lot of his support with people because it was a bad move. He did that. He hasn't gone after the vaccine makers. He's done some bad things, a lot of good things, too. And I see the globalists hating his guts. Is this the beginning of the sellout by him, like Bannon has kind of signaled this isn't the same administration? What are you saying is really happening?
What's really happening is Bannon was correct, that our military is creating a self-delusional scenario. McMaster has never won a war. He wrote a book which shamefully tells about dereliction of duty, and he's committing the very dereliction of duty. He knows that. In order to increase his prestige and his presence, he's brought in Mattis, also, who never won a war. Every one of those generals had been out of Iraq. They came in right after.
I understand. Generals always want to fight the war that everybody's lost to prove they can do it. So but I agree with you. If it is delusion, they really believe they're going to win with this plan, though, and they really believe they're going to let the military actually wipe out the real ISIS and Al-Qaeda folks that we know we've been protecting. So isn't this a different strategy, or are you saying it's all bull?
It's bullshit. The real created by the CIA. The real ISI was created by the CIA. The real Al-Qaeda was created by the CIA. What are you talking about? We don't have a war on terror. This is 16 years of insurgency in a place that's not even a country. McMaster knows that. Mattis knows that. I've been in Afghanistan.
But I understand, but you're saying, I understand you have, but you're saying Trump then, the thing
Trump made a big mistake. He should have gone with his impulse. He knew better not to listen to the general.
Well, you notice he said that. Did you watch the speech where he said, my instinct says don't do this?
I don't care what a man says. I care what a man does. And he went against his instincts. He was brought in for his instincts, not to hear the generals. And we actually helped the generals to come in to stop a war. That was my mistake and others. But we will get rid of these generals. They should have been court-martialed for the arrogance and the stupidity and the number of lies.
Let me stop you then. Let me stop you then, because I want to look at this then as if you're right. He looked forced last night. He didn't want to get to that part. He said, my instincts say this is bad, but now I'm behind the desk and things are different. How did they get him to do this when he's very pig-headed and always does what he thinks is best?
Because you got to remember, when his father wanted to get rid of him and put him into disciplinary action, he was sent to a military academy. He then refused to serve in Vietnam. So he basically looks to generals as if they're their mentors and fathers. These generals are what I call idiot savants. They know what they read, but they don't know how to create a war and to win a war. Unlike Eisenhower and Marshall, who knew exactly how to initiate a war and stop a war, they've never done it.
They don't know how to control a war.
It's not, they don't even know how to execute a war. They're a disaster. Mad Dog Mattis is a disaster. He hasn't really created anything other than his reputation. He reads all these books.
Well, let me stop you again. You seem really mad. The military sources I've talked to are disgusted by this. And there are a lot of really, right-wing anti...
Men will die. Men will die. Trump has now created a greater graveyard for our men, which shouldn't have been there in the first place. It's absolutely...
But what about his argument? What about his argument that since we've lost so many troops, we've now got to win this? The only way to win it is to kill everyone in Afghanistan.
It's exactly what happened in Vietnam. We kept on putting more and more men until we lost 50,000 men's lives, 250,000, and we killed 3 million Vietnamese, and we lost the war, and we walked out of there. McMaster.
And now we've conquered them via the economy. Well, what about Trump's statement about we're going to offer you a carpet of gold? He said money.
And Afghanistan is so corrupt. They're running billions of dollars. The CIA knows it. We know it. It was nothing.
Well, let's bring up the opium. Opium production was 3% worldwide out of there in 2001. Right. Now it's 97% out of Afghanistan. What's going on with the opium?
Okay, the opium is a crucial element of export. Our Marines protected or whatever getting in. I don't even have to talk about opium. Let's talk about...
No, let's get into the real stuff. You say you want to stop it, then tell folks what's going on.
What's going on is that Pakistan and India for 75 years have been shooting at each other on a daily basis over Kashmir. Have we stopped it? No. Can we stop it? Possibly, but we don't need soldiers for that. I need a Rex Tillerson who's smarter than they are, who ran a $400 billion company, who understands negotiation diplomacy. I don't need an idiot who's been reading Socrates or some moral books and has no idea what he's doing.
Oh, I love how Mattis tries to impress everybody that he's read a philosophy book.
Idiot. We paid him money in the Clancy franchise. I was not happy. I was hoping that he would act in a more professional way, but I taught at the War College. This man's an idiot. He should have been court-martialed for this decision. He's performing dereliction of duty. The problem is our generals have been patsies. They have been treated like feminine, like prima donnas. If this were George Marshall, I would have fired 600 of those generals on top, as he did in World War I, and we won the war. We're going to have a bloodbath that you've never seen before. And I've warned you, and I wasn't getting correct. This is not about terrorism. That's bullshit. This is not about 9/11. That's bullshit because it's interior.
Hey, no more cussing because we can only delay and then it has to build back up.
I get reprimanded anyway. I get reprimanded anyway, Alex. Doesn't matter. You can see I'm furious because we helped to put in these generals, and I thought they were smart enough. I had half a brain.
No, you did during the campaign and after warn them, don't let them go wild. Don't expand these wars, end these wars.
What happened? He went right into that.
Does Trump not get any credit, though, that he controlled them so far and didn't let them expand the war in Syria?
He gets no credit whatsoever. This is not a question of a grade. This is a question what we call the existential moment. You want to go to war, it takes 6 seconds to go to war. You want to get out of war, it's taken us 17 years to find out what the hell we're doing there. We don't belong there. Men are dying there every day. We have no strategy. And putting more men into this place is not principle rationality or principle morality.
Then here's the question. Why are they doing it? You agree it's delusional, and they think there's a plan to extricate.
This is $6 trillion in that war. And who's going to make money? KBR. Who makes money in Africa? KBR. What are we doing in Djibouti? The same thing. I've got soldiers who come back and say, what the hell was I doing in Africa? Why am I Djibouti, Sudan, Somalia? The soldiers have no idea what they're doing.
Why don't we do what China does and just go in with economic power and take over?
I agree with you. We don't have the brains. I thought Trump would be smart enough to do that, Alex. You just hit it on the head. China went into Djibouti, and instead of using guns, they built 400 miles of railroads from Djibouti to Ethiopia. What do? We send a bunch of young Christian kids who don't speak Arabic, they don't speak French, and we send them to guns to Somalia and Sudan to support corrupt individuals. That's our military. They're dysfunctional. We have billions of dollars invested in men who have never really done anything in the real life, and they have been treated like prima donnas. It's the most socialist system I've ever seen. They get up every day. They know what to do.
So you're saying it's basically like paths of glory, but America style.
This is like paths of childishness. These are pansies. These are not men. These aren't men who went out to create jobs. These aren't men who went out and risked their lives to do something creative. These are men who got addicted to some kind of shooting and have no idea what it means. They have no idea what regime change means. One of the reasons why I left the National War College was these men like McMaster and Mattis and others, were stupid. And after a while, you couldn't really talk to them. And when the Iraq War occurred, I said to all of these guys going in, you're going to lose. And you won't even know what you're doing. You will be in there for years on end because Paul Wolfowitz and Zalman.
Sure, but here's the thing. Maybe they're not stupid. Maybe they're parasites, and all they want's the money a war brings.
That's fine. I don't care how you say it. They're stupid. They're parasites. They are malcontents. These are misanthropes of our society.
Okay, well, why do people seem to think then that this is really a build down for real to then go in, claim we've made a deal with them, paper it over, and then haul ass out of there? From your sources, you think this is a real escalation of invasion? Because notice he didn't say any numbers. He didn't say any numbers. Well, I mean, tell me. What do you think?
No, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. This is not a strategy. It's a cockamamie series of tactics that McMaster has no idea what he's talking about. He's going to economically...
Well, we're back in 70 seconds. Then Paul Watson's coming up, too.